No more 9 to 5, what a way to make a living. Crypto is on the rise, making that dough in the crypto paradigm. Watching it go, buying low, selling high. Riding the wave, I'm here to stay, living in the digital age. No banks, no fees, just decentralized. It's crypto paradise. Ooh. No banks, no fees, no more
Alrighty,
9 to 5.
let's kick this thing off, surfers. Good morning from paradise. My name is Crypto Amaru. We got Crypto Hitman in the house. Theme song is up. We're making daily steady improvements. So glad to be here, guys. We are doing these shows every single day now, 5 days a week, bringing you the latest news, analysis, alpha, gems, surf updates. I don't know, funny anecdotal life stories. We're here to hang out and have some fun this bull run and make a bunch of money. So happy to have you guys with us. All right, so lead story today. We open the charts, right? Bitcoin's down a little bit. Oh, 116,000, whatever. But look, and alts are also kind of down too. But look what's up. Look what is up, folks. Ethereum this morning outperforming Bitcoin for the first time in a while, right? I mean, we had obviously Ethereum went on that tremendous run, but Bitcoin was also doing well. So I think finally we are in that moment in time when Bitcoin takes a little bit of breather. Most alts aren't doing that well, but a lot of the attention shifts to ETH. ETH season is imminent, folks, and we have a lot of articles and stories and data to demonstrate this. So we'll talk about that. What's the implications? What does it all mean for you and your portfolio? How to position yourself for the next phase of the bull run, which is when the real fun starts. So, all right, we got some charts open here. How are we looking chart-wise today, Nick?
Yeah, I mean, Bitcoin 116,000 continues to consolidate like we kind of thought it would, but who's selling Bitcoin here? I think it was Galaxy Digital has been selling hundreds of millions, if not billions of dollars of Bitcoin, and everybody is wondering why are they selling Bitcoin and what are they going to do with it? So there has been some new wallets open that are buying a couple $100 million worth of Ethereum. Is that Galaxy Digital? I don't know. I expect some context from them, probably not till next week. It is Friday, and they do have another 10,000 Bitcoin that they could potentially sell. But Galaxy Digital is a pro crypto company, and I doubt at this point in time, right here, right now, would they be selling Bitcoin unless they are looking to rotate it into another crypto venture, and potentially that is Ethereum. Maybe that's an Ethereum strategic reserve. I don't know, but I don't think they're leaving the market altogether. But that is who's causing this red bar right now. They've been selling tens of thousands of Bitcoin, and people are watching the wall, and they still have another 10,000 Bitcoin they could potentially sell, which is spooking some traders. And then, like you said, this morning when I woke up, Ethereum was actually green for the day. It is slight red, but still outperforming Bitcoin at $3,700 right now. And if you look at this ETH BTC chart, well, the target is still here. 20% rally from here, 18% rally from here. You can see a little bit of consolidation. Now it's trying to work higher. Hopefully we don't get a double top here. If we do, you need to hold this previous low. But I think the small movements here for ETH BTC chart are irrelevant, and the trend is your friend, and this trend is going to continue up and to the right. Ethereum strategic reserve narrative is driving the market. Ethereum outflows are starting to outpace Bitcoin. We got Galaxy Digital selling a ton of Bitcoin. Are they coming to the ETH train? I don't know. Stable coins are coming to ETH in a big way very rapidly the remainder of this year with that bill that just passed. So trend your friend. ETH going to continue to outperform Bitcoin. That is going to help your altcoins, and hopefully some new retail players, some new retail degens get into the markets and buy our altcoin backs.
Time to hold, folks. Time to hold because things are about to get crazy, I think, with respect to Ethereum and then altcoins. Mike Novogratz, the founder of Galaxy Digital, is absolutely dumping his Bitcoin to buy into ETH. Do I know this for a fact? No. But he's out there on CNBC, doing his sort of rotations on media, and he's out there saying Bitcoin's going to 130,000, 150, but ETH is going to outperform Bitcoin. ETH's next target is 4,000, and I think he's targeting ETH at 8 to 10K this cycle. So I think he shifted from, Bitcoin bull, which, look, this all makes sense. The beginning of the bull run, Bitcoin is always the market leader. And we saw it happen again this cycle. 15,000 to 122 or whatever the all-time high was. And then at some point, mind share, capital, everything starts rotating into ETH. And it just so happens that this time around, that rotation is backed by solid fundamentals and solid logic, right? With these passage of the stablecoin bills, the fact that these stablecoins, which are going to be issued by some of the biggest companies in the world, going to be running on Ethereum, right? It all lines up for ETH having a massive run. And so this is completely within line with historical precedent, and it's in line with what is happening from a political macro standpoint. And Mike Novogratz is no dummy. He's a billionaire, right? He's the founder of Galaxy Digital. So he knows these things. He's selling his Bitcoin. That's okay. Look, made profit, sell your Bitcoin. And he's rotating into ETH. And I think that is going to continue to be the story for at least these next few weeks, right? When we say seasons can be quick in crypto. Maybe a month, maybe 2 months, maybe a few weeks before ETH, really runs. It's going to capture all the attention. It's going to be in all the media, all that good stuff, and it already kind of is. It's going to be more so. And then eventually that money's going to shift down to the mid caps and the low caps. But we're right now, I think, in the midst of an ETH season, or at least the start of it. So get prepared for it going to 4,000, and let's monitor Bitcoin, because I think we're going to continue to see some weakness in Bitcoin. It's not going to be dramatic. It's not going to crash to 100 or 90,000, absent some black swan event or something. But ETH is going to steal the show for now. So just be prepared, be positioned. If you've been watching Crypto Paradise, we've been on this ETH strategic reserve train for a few months now, and it seems like every day a new one's coming online. So this is how things go. It's in line with historical trends, and it's in line with what's happening from a political and macro standpoint. And just follow the big money, follow the wallet, so you know exactly what's going on.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what Galaxy Digital says publicly, because it is interesting. Michael Novogratz was on that show not too long ago. I actually made a tweet, or we talked about it on the live show, where his upside target for the end of year Bitcoin is 130 to 150, and I called him a pussy, because that's just, if you're bullish and you're in the bull market and historical trends, that is nothing for what Bitcoin can do. But he did have higher expectations for Ethereum, which means if he's putting his money where his mouth is, him rotating from Bitcoin to Ethereum would make sense. Now, why are they doing it so rapidly and so aggressively right now? I'm not sure. Maybe they're getting into some investment. Maybe they're trying to set up their own strategic reserve, and they're trying to get the dip on ETH because they see the fine line that, hey, these other Bitminer and fucking SharpLink Gaming and all these other guys are buying and buying quickly and saying they're going to buy 1 million ETH. So maybe you need to make your move. But we'll see what happens here nonetheless over the next coming days. I expect them to make a public announcement of some sort. Probably not today because they're not done selling their Bitcoin, but probably by Monday or Tuesday of next week. And we're speculating that is part of the rotation into ETH or an Ethereum product. So that is good to see. And then I see you pulled up that article there, but I'll steal the show because you're talking about the phases of Ethereum, the phases of the market, the phases of alt season. And this is kind of where we're at right now, folks. This has been going around for years and for cycles, but it continues to be right. Phase 1 is Bitcoin. Phase 2 is overlap. Phase 2 is Ethereum. So are we in this overlap right now, or are we straight Ethereum? I think we still have a little bit of time before we go straight Ethereum, but we did just see the past 6 days that Ethereum is bringing in more ETF inflows than Bitcoin, so maybe we are getting close to being full-blown Phase 2 Ethereum here, as we see Galaxy Digital selling tens of thousands of Bitcoin and speculating that they'll be market buying some ETH. But, this is all part of the game. Into ETH, other large caps are running. You got BNB and Solana. Solana won over $200. BNB put new all-time highs. Now they pulled back a little bit. Then we go into large caps, which those fall into, and some of our mid caps and alt season will begin. The money pyramid continues cycle after cycle, just with different twists. What's going to be the narrative this cycle? Who are going to be the biggest winners? Because there's one thing to be in an altcoin and be a big winner. You get 1x, 5x, 10x, but there's always going to be that sector that is the bigger winners. Instead of a 1, 5, or 10, they're getting a 10, 25, or 100x. So we're trying to find those narratives as well to really outperform the overall market.
The audience approves and thanks you for your diligence in searching for those low cap gems that are going to bring us those 100x returns. We've had a lot of success in the past in doing that. We have our eyes and ears on the trenches. We're trying to find those gems like the fuck 9 to 5s of the world, 20x from where we bought in 300k. The substances of the world. But look, the market shifts quickly, and the truth is no one really knows what the next hot sector is going to be. I think it's smart to kind of be a little bit diversified in the sense of, okay, maybe you got some memes, maybe you have AI, I think might have a resurgence here, maybe some RWA plays, maybe you're positioned across multiple chains, Pulse chain, for example, right? And see that outperform some DeFi stuff over there, maybe some farming. I don't know. It's good to be a bit diversified. No one really knows what the next trend is going to be, but my feeling is, look, memes are going to continue to do well. It's been demonstrated time and again that retail has an affinity towards memes. I mean, right? It's a low barrier to entry. You can do 100 or 1,000x if you get lucky. You have the dopamine rush element of kind of the gambling side of it. So, I think memes are set to do well this cycle. You're pointing out some of our favorite ones. Meme utilities perhaps is an adjacent category, like a surf, for example, which has utilities built in, but also that fun meme element as well. I think of a Mellow Man as well in that sort of category, a project that we've liked in the past. So look, there's going to be a lot of opportunities. My big takeaway is, yes, we are in the beginning of that true ETH season. I'd say the overlap, right? You pulled up that chart. The overlap felt like maybe last week or 2 weeks ago when like Bitcoin was running and ETH was running. Now Bitcoin having cooled down, right? But ETH starting to show and continue to show signs of life would logically indicate to me that we are in the start of phase 2, the Ethereum phase. Now, first of all, whether I'm right, that remains to be seen. Secondly, how long that lasts, that remains to be seen. But these things, I mean, this is what's so great about crypto, right? Like, you don't need to overthink it. Yes, it doesn't exactly line up the same every single cycle in terms of exact same moment these certain things start to run or whatever, but it rhymes. It rhymes in a major way, right? It's a Dr. Seuss rhyme. It's just clear as day. And so, to me, having that historical understanding and just kind of being patient and waiting for these things to play out, that's the key to success in this industry. And the great thing is it doesn't have to be that complicated.
Agree with everything you're saying there. Major support on Bitcoin, for those of you wondering, is back down here on the 200 moving average and this white trend line, which would be between 112 to 113,000. That would kind of give up this last green explosive move we had back in July 10th. Wow, it seems like an eternity ago. It's only 2 weeks ago when that happened. But yeah, so major support at 112 to 113. Will you get front run? Could the low already be in? Potentially. The low probably gets put in after Galaxy Digital dumps the last 10,000 of their Bitcoin. That's what people are watching. That's whatever all the wallet hawkers are watching. And if people notice that they're putting it back into the market and not pulling it out, that probably gets them back long as well. Because even if it goes into Ethereum, that's still pro for the overall general market consensus and liquidity. And remember, there is like wrap Bitcoin and Ethereum LPs. So if they just roll it into ETH and ETH pumps, that will help Bitcoin price as well.
To me, it's highly unlikely they're going to pull all that out of the markets, right? And I know they have funds that they trade with on behalf of clients. I think they have a lot of institutional clients, things of that nature, and they have their own money. But I don't think that they're in the business of pulling it out before the explosive, blow off top moment of this cycle. It would belie all logic for an experienced operation like Galaxy Digital to, in the middle of summer, decide, okay, the bull run's over, the cycle's over. Fed hasn't even cut rates yet. Powell's still the Fed chair, but we're pulling all our money out of crypto. So that's not going to happen. Much more likely, in my view, that they will rotate into Ethereum, right? That's where all the mind share is. And again, we show the article. Novogratz is out there beating the drum, saying, Ethereum is the new. It's got the narrative and the momentum, and it's going to outpace Bitcoin. It's going to hit 4,000 in the near term. So just watch what he does, watch what he says. It's not that complicated, and we have more proof, right? Just more proof that Ethereum is outperforming Bitcoin right now. And look, for those who watch the channel, we've always been saying have some of both if you can. But we know a lot of people don't. A lot of people in the trenches have said, Bitcoin, I can't make money off of that, so I'm in the alt game. So look, you should be happy now, guys. This is your time. This is when things start to get crazy. And I think we're just at the cusp of it. We haven't really seen alt season. Maybe last week or 2 weeks ago felt like a bit of a taste when everything was pumping for that week. And of course, like now everything's down a bit. But yeah, things are about to get exciting. So I'm glad you guys are tuning in, watching Crypto Paradise, learning from us, thinking long term, hopefully identifying some strong plays with us so we can all do those 100x gains together.
Yeah, and I mean, this would look like a really good consolidation here, especially if you can expect hundreds of millions of dollars from Galaxy Digital to come into Ethereum. So again, we still haven't, everybody's panicking. Oh my gosh, there's a little bit of red in ETH and Bitcoin selling off. I mean, Ethereum's not even lower than where it was. And we've been calling for a potential 10.5% drawdown. We've only gone down 8.5%, and now we are outperforming Bitcoin with a high level consolidation. So everything still looks good here. No panic in the streets. Other altcoins you like Floki went up to 140, back down to 120, and now they're at 128, up 3% today. So, I mean, nothing crazy going on in the markets to report on. I think this is just the time to keep your passive income rolling, keep positioned in good projects, and we kind of give you those rundown all the time. We've been saying you need to rotate to Ethereum. We've been saying BNB was going to teleport up to $1,000. It went to new all-time highs after that. And projects like Floki benefit off that as they are both on Ethereum network and BSC. This is up like 150% off the lows. And, the list goes on. We're talking about SBET, sub $10. It's at $23. Talked about BMNR live yesterday, sub $40 at $39. It's up to $41.42, even after being down 1% today. PTGC continues to break out of its 4-month consolidation pattern, back into resistance up here once again. Up 140 something percent off the lows, so can't go wrong with that. And we just keep positioning ourselves and keep trying to find the winners for you. There's not going to be days where it's just green, green, green every single day. There has to be red. There has to be consolidation. That's where the weak cans get out, and the highly convicted stay long, add to the positions, and ride the next wave higher. And then hopefully here on Crypto Paradise, we can keep bringing you those 10x winners and say, hey, if you want to take some profits out of 10x, a 20x, a 30x, feel free to do so. We believe that it can go up because of X, Y, and Z, or we think it's going to go down because of A, B, and C. And that's what we're going to do here for the rest of the cycle.
I mean, for me, the name of the game at this moment in time is trying to position and find those 10x's. Because look, 100% on PTGC, that's great, but that's not really changing anyone's life. So I'm looking for those 10x, I'm looking for those 20x, I'm looking for the next substance, right? I'm looking for the next absolute gem. Maybe it's on Solana, maybe it's on ETH, maybe it's on Pulse Chain, at a very, very low market cap that with a little bit of luck, a little bit of hard work, maybe a little support from Crypto Paradise on the marketing side, that you can actually do a 10, 20, 50, or 100 times returns over the course of this bull run. That's to me what it's all about, right? If you're in the trenches, if you're hunting for low cap gems, and I know we talk about ETH and macros and Bitcoin all the time, but we know what you guys are here for. You're here for the 100x's. If you want to find those 100x's, you got to be hunting. You got to be hunting in the trenches, trying to find these gems, trying to position early in the good ones. And look, we're here to help. So we just announced within our DAO group, where there's 84 members in there presently, each holding 200,000 or more surf. That's where the alpha happens. That's where the magic happens. And we just announced, hey, look, if you're in the trenches, if you're researching and you're seeing good projects, let us know about it, man. Like, introduce us to the teams. We'll do some due diligence on them. We'll, try to do some marketing on their behalf. By the way, we offer 10% referral fees if you ever refer us a project that we end up securing a marketing deal with. And hopefully we can all win together, because if it's a super low cap, like a substance, for example, we're getting it at 100,000 and it runs up to 1 million, 10 million. I mean, there's your 100x. 100,000 to 10 million is completely not out of the realm of possibility for substance. In fact, I think it's probably likely going to happen. Right?
Yeah, and showing dose here and substance here. We got involved down here, 100,000 market cap. We're currently up 707%. Had a big blow off top on this massive green candle. Some new influencers, KOL call groups got involved. Movement coins are really heating up. We saw FUCK 9 to 5 exploding, SPS 6900 exploding. So dose exploded as well, as people are looking for that new player in the sector. Now, if we throw fib lines on here, you can see we're sitting on a 50% retracement here. Historically, on larger caps for Wyckoff thesis, you buy assets that are strong, and when they're strong, the 50% pullback is a zone that you want to buy. Also, the 618 is in the realm of possibility if we see overall weakness with Solana or Ethereum. So that would be down here around 53.11. We are going to touch base with those to see what is going on, what is their next plan. There is hints of more marketing, more campaigns, more social media posts, and really keeping the movement alive. So don't expect this thing to just V-shape recovery, or I wouldn't. I would expect some kind of consolidation in between this gold line and this green line down here. But somewhere in this range is going to be a really good buy opportunity, and hopefully we can bring you some insight and some information on when and where, what's the next plan. Get yourself a position. If you missed out on this 100,000 mark, dose potentially on these fib levels is going to be another buy opportunity for higher levels. Like Ian just said, 100,000 to 10 million is very possible. We've already had 100,000 to 1.2 million. Now, after this next consolidation, look at this one: big green, consolidate, moonshot. Big green, consolidate, moonshot towards $5 million market cap would be the next target. Consolidate again, head to 10 million. There's your 100x, and there is your big gainer. Also, you'll be part of a community. You'll network. You'll get in the trenches. You'll feel like you belong to something, and that is why these movement meme coins are doing so well right now. And that is why we're keeping our eye on Dose here for its next consolidation and move higher.
These sound effects are too fun. But yeah, look, that's our job, right? That's one of our jobs anyway. On behalf of the DAO, it's finding gems like Substance at $100,000 market cap and doing what we can. We're we can't do everything, but we are a part of the puzzle. We're a piece of the marketing puzzle. Out here on our soapbox, shilling Substance every day. So that's how we can help. And look, there's going to be dozens of similar opportunities this cycle that come to us. Low market cap gems with good teams that are willing to push and work hard. And will all of them do 100x? No. Will some of them absolutely fail and rug? Probably. But you just need a couple of those 100x returns to really genuinely change your life. You put $1,000 into Substance, you're literally doing something that you and your family can remember for the rest of their lives. So I don't know. I'm excited where this market's going. We're not quite there yet. That's the thing. We're still, I think, in this kind of a lot of attention and mind shares on ETH. I think big caps come next, but there is going to come a time, I'd say within the next 2 to 3 months, likely corresponding with the beginning of fall, where the market absolutely starts to ascend and you have alt season and things are running like crazy. So you want to get positioned now. You want to find these low cap gems now. Just buy and hold, I think. I mean, look, not financial advice. If you want to take profits and rotate into something else, of course, that's your prerogative. My feeling is, when you find strong ones with good narratives, good teams, good communities behind them, and they're still low cap and they're still low, they're not at 50 million, they're at 500K. Well, then it's a good time to continue to hold, because my guess is when all season comes, the likes of Substance, Fuck 9 to 5, Surf, many others that we talk about are all going to be much, much, much higher.
Yeah, and we keep talking about them because we're talking about looking for entries. For those of you who missed it, you don't have 200,000 Surf yet, or not in the DAO, there's still good entries on those projects we like if we believe they're going to head higher. Obviously, we have our bag bias. We have our own bags. We have marketing deals, and the Surf DAO members, we want them to succeed so they can get profits and buy more Surf. But we're just showing what the charts say. We're giving you the insights and information that we're getting directly from the horse's mouth, directly from these team members, and trying to get you positioned ahead of time before they do new marketing campaigns, before they get new influencers, before they get their centralized exchanges, whatever it may be. We're here to give you that information as soon as we possibly can, get you in ahead of the curve, and make sure that you're early to these low cap gems, because we know they can move very quickly. We saw fucking 9 to 5 absolutely rip from 300,000 to 4 million, back to 2 million, then went up to 8 million, and now it's back consolidating at the $4 million level, getting ready for its next move higher towards the $10 million market cap. So even Fuck 9 to 5 is an opportunity. You get another pullback opportunity. You thought you missed it. The community is there. The mantra is there. And they're already working on their next marketing campaign and onboarding more people into the Fuck 9 to 5 cult.
For fuck 9 to 5. We'll give it up for fuck 9 to 5. But yeah, there's a lot of gems, a lot of opportunities out there for anyone who is in the trenches, and you guys have identified, a gem that's sitting at, 100,000, 200, 500, whatever it is, and the team is solid, and the founder is working his butt off, and the community's there. Those are the stuff we want to hear about. So don't hesitate to DM us, hit us up with your gems, projects that you love. Maybe we'll do a marketing deal. Maybe we'll just ape in and do a call. It doesn't matter. We'll see what happens. But definitely looking forward to working with you guys together to continue to find these great opportunities. All right, so I see you got the Ethereum Strategic Reserve numbers up here. I mean, it's amazing to me that Ether Machine out of nowhere popped into number 4 after like a day.
Yeah.
And who's next, right? Who's going to be the next Ether Machine? Because I don't think this thing's slowing down.
Maybe it's Galaxy Digital. Who knows? They've sold $1 billion worth of Bitcoin. I don't know what they have up their sleeve, but that would be interesting to see what they're doing here. We see Bitmine, 566,000 ETH. Their target is still like 1 million ETH. Sharplink Gaming, 360,000 ETH. Target of 1 million ETH. The foundation's slowly selling off because that's what they do. Ether Machine has a target of 500,000 ETH. They only have 170,000 in their bank. Pulse Chain still sitting here strong. Same 166,000 ETH they've had forever. And Coinbase, I would expect in the next quarterly earnings that they make this a nice round number, add something like 13,000 ETH to make this 150,000 ETH. Nothing crazy. I don't think Coinbase is leaning into the Ethereum Strategic Reserve, but they're definitely continuing to add some ETH and Bitcoin to their books to strengthen their ties to the liquidity in the crypto market. And I would not doubt them getting this up here a little bit, which would be helpful. Another good press release as Coinbase is in the S&P 500. So it gives it more legitimacy to the Ethereum Strategic Reserve narrative if Coinbase adds to those books. But, I mean, it's crazy to see because 2 months ago when this website came out and I was talking about this, there was like 15 total companies on here, and it literally was Ethereum Foundation, Pulse Chain Sack Wallet, and then Coinbase. And now look at this. Pulse Chain Sack Wallet down to 5, Coinbase down to 6, Foundation down to 3, as out of nowhere everybody wants to be a buyer of Ethereum.
Strong hands buying ETH from the week. It's a wonderful story, and I think these financial institutions realize how undervalued Ethereum is relative to where it's going to be in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 years from now. You put out a wonderful video. Yeah, I love your Pumpamentals hyped up videos, ETH to 22K. And look, I don't know if that's going to happen this cycle. Nobody does. But I'm pretty damn sure it's going to happen in the next 10 years, right? That's kind of almost a no-brainer trade. If Bitcoin we believe is going to hit 1 million in the next 10 years, ETH would surely be at the 20,000 level by then. It'd still just be a fraction of Bitcoin's market cap. So if you're long-term, as we encourage everyone on the show to be, you guys are still early. So I don't know if it hits 22K this cycle. Certainly hope it does. Maybe we'll have to get another condo on the beach if that happens. But 22K Ethereum in the next 10 years is kind of that's such a nothing sort of prediction that it's like, of course it is. Of course that's going to happen, Crypto Amaru.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of crazy because just a few weeks ago when ETH was $1,600, people were like, man, I hope ETH can get to 4,000. I would love all-time high of ETH 5,000. And now it's just like, if you look at the numbers, where are they going to get this ETH from if they're actually going to meet their goals? Do you think Tom Lees and Kathy Wood are going to lie to you about their 1 million, 2 million ETH goal? Do you think Joe Lubin, and now they just picked up some guy that was a former BlackRock digital guy. I don't know what his name is. I don't know if you can find that tweet. But SBET just picked up a former BlackRock guy. Do you think they're done buying ETH? Do you think they're not going to get their million ETH? Coinbase has been buying more Ethereum than Bitcoin. Do you think they're done buying it? You think Coinbase is going to just magically stop making money before retail even gets to the market and they're not going to buy any more ETH? That's the thing. ETH, when being used, when retail comes to the market, is deflationary. And now you have all these people that are trying to buy it up faster than it is getting put into supply. And not only are they buying it up, then they're staking it, which means they're taking a bigger piece of the pie of the emissions. So now it becomes even more deflationary because now 50% of the emissions are going to these companies who are telling you they're never going to sell, like Michael Saylor and MicroStrategy. So I think that is why you can have much bigger objectives. And people look at the charts from 2017 run. Look at the charts from the 2021 run. Just because you're in a bull market the past year doesn't mean that there isn't still going to be a massive parabola and euphoria. The real cycle, and when Ethereum takes front and center is euphoria. Ethereum doing a 2x from here is what, 7,000 ETH, and is a 2x a win for ETH? I don't think so. I think ETH is going to do a 4x, 5x, 10x, and that puts you into the range of $12,000 ETH, $20,000 ETH, $22,000, $35 ETH, which is what I've been saying is possible if you look at the ETH BTC historical charts. So I think people just get so caught up and they're forgetting at how volatile and rapid these things can move higher. The other thing is too, yes, Bitcoin gains per cycle is depreciating, so it would make sense if Bitcoin only does a 2x from here. But stocks are at all-time highs. M2 money supply is at all-time highs. The spending power of the dollar is at all-time lows. So I think that can also inflate prices of Bitcoin and risk on assets like we have here in crypto. And I'm really surprised that people like Novogratz are like, yeah, we have bull market for another 6 months, but I think Bitcoin only goes up another $10,000. That kind of just doesn't make sense to me, and we'll see what happens here moving forward.
Well, it's because he's bullish on ETH and rotating into ETH, so it's all good. He's going to pump our bags one way or another. But I don't know, can you see the screen here with the top assets of the world?
Yep.
Yeah, so you see here, folks, Ethereum currently sitting as the 25th highest ranked asset by market cap, right? Currently a $445 billion market cap, which maybe sounds like a lot, and it certainly is. But if Ethereum is in fact the digital oil of this sort of Web3 revolution, and as more and more assets, stablecoin, RWAs, of course DeFi, NFTs, et cetera, continue to move on chain, and Ethereum is the clear leader now as the sort of digital oil. It's the global blockchain. No one has supplanted it, certainly from an institutional standpoint. I'm not talking about degens gambling on memes. But, 10x from here actually brings it to the market cap of the highest valued company in the world, which is NVIDIA, right? Now, is it going to hit 37K ETH in the next year? I don't think so. But, the value of all these companies are going to continue to grow. The value of gold is going to go up. NVIDIA, Mike, everything is going to go up, right? Because that's what happens over time. The value of these hard assets and the best companies in the world continue to go up over time. So by the time ETH has 10x'd itself and is sitting at the present market cap of NVIDIA, well, NVIDIA will be 8 trillion. So it's not even out of the realm of possibility, I guess is my overall point here. People are like, oh, it could never hit 4 trillion. Well, I bet you 20 years ago, people said gold could never hit 22 trillion. And here we are. So the money supply keeps growing. The value of the dollar keeps going down. And investors keep looking for alternative assets that are not being inflated over time and actually go up. So ETH is going to be a huge winner. I don't know if it does a 10x over the next, say 6 to 9 months, assuming that's the length of this remainder of this bull run. But in the next 10 years, it's completely within the realm of possibility. So for those who are looking to, sell their ETH bags, oh yeah, I did a 2x. I did a 2x on ETH. Yay. Well, I'll tell you what, really rich, really smart, much smarter investors than you are buying that bag happily, and they're going to ride it up to 37K over the next 10 years.
Right, and the other thing too you got to factor in is if, in fact, ETH continues to get more usage and more diamond handers from these Ethereum strategic reserves, if Ethereum goes deflationary, that means the token supply is decreasing at any given time. It doesn't even have to get, if it does a 10x, it might not be 4 trillion because there might be less tokens in supply due to deflationary token economics that we saw in the last bull market. So that's something that you can't really factor in, and something that makes higher upside objectives more realistic is when there's a scarce asset that actually is deflationary, whether it's, in that case, burns due to network utilization, or in the case of some of the altcoins that we buy in burns by the project itself. So you're like, oh, 10x isn't possible. But if the token supply is going down, then the 10x doesn't lead to that inflated market capitalization because there's less tokens now for that price. So we'll see how that progresses. I know Ethereum, that was always their goal with the proof of stake, is to have moments of deflation. And now they're getting deflation from utilization, but also deflation from diamond-handed folks who are sucking up the emissions and just hodling on.
It's a beautiful time to be alive. It's a beautiful time to have bet on ETH early and take it from a guy who, did some dumb stuff in his early tenure in the crypto space. notably selling some Bitcoin that I bought for, I don't know, God knows low price, and buying a TV with it. And I remember being so proud and happy. I would actually show my friends this TV and tell them, "Hey, look what I bought, with my Bitcoin." That TV is now sitting in the attic. I don't think it even works. And the Bitcoin that I used to buy that TV with would probably be enough to buy the entire house I'm living in.
Yeah, that
So,
that that is funny because the TVs are the one thing in technology that's actually gone way down in price. 10 years ago or whenever a TV was probably a flat screen was like $3,000 and weighed 150 pounds. Now they're $300 and weigh 20 pounds.
I know.
And inversely, you probably spent 2 grand on that TV, which at the time was 2 Bitcoin, and now Bitcoin's up to 120.
Yeah, so take it from a guy who sold his Bitcoin too early, and there's countless stories of this, right? Everyone who's been in this crypto space for long enough has a story of either themselves selling Bitcoin way too soon or somebody else they know selling Bitcoin way too soon. It's the same story now with ETH, right? It's the same story, guys. We're sitting at the 25th most valuable asset. I know it sounds like a lot. It's $400 billion market cap, but there's so much room to run on Ethereum that you'll be kicking yourself if you sold it for a 2x, bought some stupid shit, and then in 10 years from now, right? Because what I'm talking about happened 10 years ago. I think that Bitcoin I bought was 2017, so almost 10 years, right? 8 years. You'll be kicking yourself. Wow, I had like 20 ETH, man. I had like 20 ETH. And I sold it for some dumb shit, and I gambled it away in the altcoin world, and now that 20 ETH would be worth $1 million. Fuck, you'll be kicking yourself. So look, think long term. If you take nothing away from this live stream today, think long term. Imagine where you're going to be in 10 years now. I know it's hard to do, right? Because it's hard to envision yourself 10 years. Like, oh man, I'm gonna be so fucking old. Like, who knows if I'll even be alive? Trust me, you'll be alive, unless you guys are, if any 90-year-olds are watching the show. You'll be alive, and you'll probably be mostly the same person, and you'll be kicking yourself for not having held on to these assets that have just been going like this. So take it from a guy who bought a stupid TV sitting in the attic, not working, and could have bought a house or whatever, still just holding the Bitcoin. So look, all these things are going higher. We are early, you are early, and we are all going to make it.
Keep hodling that TV, bud.
I don't even think it works. It's just in the attic. You know what I mean? You got stuff. My house is full of old stuff that my wife doesn't want to get rid of, and it's just sitting there. It doesn't even work. It's not even fucking hooked up. We've bought probably 3 or 4 new TVs since that period of time. So look, yeah, just don't do dumb stuff with your crypto. Hang on to it. Better yet, stake it, right? The great thing about ETH, and I think one reason why it will at some point outperform Bitcoin's price performance, at least for a moment of time, is that it is something you can stake to earn passive income off of. That's very hard, if not essentially impossible, to do with Bitcoin outside of maybe some centralized services that exist. So look, to me, Ethereum extremely undervalued, even at $3,700. I know it sounds crazy, but in 10 years from now, I don't know if Nick, your 22K target is going to be met this cycle, but I can almost guarantee it's going to happen in the next 5 or 10 years.
Yeah, $22,035 for ETH. I haven't said, hey, by the end of 2025. I'm just saying if Ethereum dominance matches what it did in the last cycle, and based on my prediction, that would mean Bitcoin would also have to go to 244,000. If BTC goes to 244, ETH does the same performance it did against Bitcoin last cycle. That would give you a target around $22,035 ETH, which seemed like a far-fetched fairy tale just a couple months ago. But now seeing the Ethereum strategic reserve narrative take off makes it more of a possibility.
Well, I think, look, it's going to take the stars aligning to some degree. I mean, was Bitcoin hitting $120,000 an inevitability that, in all possible universes that could exist, in all possible realities, Bitcoin was guaranteed and destined to hit 120,000? I don't think so. I think there's a world where Michael Saylor doesn't step in and start buying tons of it. And that then sparks that whole, stampede of other strategy, copycats that really have been responsible for this run. So, is it guaranteed that Ethereum is going to hit it? No, it's probably not guaranteed, but I do think it's absolutely going to happen. And the reason is this, right? Setting aside the investors that are just buying it up, I believe there's going to be a ton more network utilization coming in the near to midterm. And that's through these stable coins, right? The stable coin phenomenon has really just started with the passage of the Genius Act. Obviously, we've had Tether, we've had USDT. A lot of it was mostly just to be used within the crypto space. We haven't yet seen stable coins outside of maybe within certain countries that are emerging markets and so on that use stable coins for everyday transactions. But in the West, we haven't started to use stable coins yet for our day-to-day life. But I think with the passage of the Stablecoin Act, and now there's been reports of numerous of the top companies in the world, the Facebooks, Amazons, Walmart, and a handful of others, exploring their own stablecoins and likely to do their own stablecoins, right? We know Facebook's wanted to do a stablecoin for a long time. Remember Libra? Remember when they wanted to do that Libra thing? I don't remember if it was a stablecoin or what it was exactly, but they want to do it. And why do they want to do it? Well, they can print their own money, right? They can generate yield from that money, and then they can pass savings on to their customers to grab more customers on their product, right? Because wouldn't you rather use an Amazon stable coin if there was no friction, right? Just within the Amazon app. I bought some shit on Amazon yesterday, and it's coming to the house, and I use it using a credit card. But what if there was an option right in my Amazon app to say, use Amazon coin, save 5%, get 5% discount. And all I got to do is click OK and click buy, and it all happens in the background for me. So I didn't have to go through any stress or, oh, what the fuck is a stable coin? I got to learn what blockchain is. No. They take care of all that shit in the background. Just like you don't know how transactions happen using your Visa card. You don't know how your email works, but it just does. And that's how it's going to be with crypto and blockchain. But it's going to be with stable coins that I think finally bring in the masses, finally bring in those millions and billions of people. They'll be using the stuff without even knowing it. But the beautiful thing is that all these transactions will settle on the Ethereum blockchain, which is the most legally compliant, it's the most secure, it's the most battle tested, it has the most developers, it has the most institutional buy-in. It is not going to happen on some random L2 that you've invested in and convinced yourself is going to overtake ETH. It's just not going to happen. So ETH is going to be a huge winner in this new sort of stable coin regime that's going to be coming. And that to me is how Ethereum, from a fundamental standpoint, is going to hit that $22,000 or $30,000 mark in the next 5 or 10 years. Oh, you're muted.
This is what I was talking about with SharpLink Gaming and their Ethereum Strategic Reserve. Thomas Lee said, hey, we got Kathy Wood over here now. SharpLink Gaming just said, okay, I see your Kathy Wood, and I raise you with Joseph Shalom here, former head of digital asset strategy at BlackRock. Probably mispronounced your name, but who cares because you're rich, so you don't give a shit. He was in charge of BlackRock funds for 2 decades. He helped launch IBIT, got up to 87 billion in managed funds. ETH got up to 10 billion AUM. Right now, SharpLink and SBET is something like valued at $3 billion and has $2 billion in ETH, somewhere around there. So you're looking at numbers like 87 billion and 10 billion. He's coming on board. He has ties to BlackRock, which is one of the biggest ETF providers out there. This is a big pickup for SharpLink Gaming. And what's interesting here, people are like, Nick, everybody's rotating from SBET to BNMR and trying to pick what's going to win. They're two very different things. I'm heavier in SharpLink Gaming because I have conviction I got in cheaper. But BNMR's got its own thing as well. So BNMR got Tom Lee and, Kathy Woods from ARK. So you got the faces of finance. They're on the CNBCs. They're selling you on a product. They get the average Joe into their stock. That's what they got. They got the average Joe, kind of the XRP ripple effect. The face, good talkers, can talk down to low IQ individuals as far as crypto is concerned. Then you got SharpLink Gaming, who's the co-founder of Ethereum, and now you got this other Joseph character, and maybe they talk too high above the average Joe. Maybe they're not the faces that love speaking on CNBC as much, but I think from a technical perspective, they're going to be onboarding more money, and they're going to be able to drive more DeFi yield from their Ethereum holdings. So it's really 6 of one, half dozen of another. I think they both win. It's what do you want to choose? Do you want to choose the people who have the face and they can onboard the average Joes, or do you want to choose the people who are maybe too smart for the average Joes but probably can produce more DeFi yield over time? I'm somewhere in the middle. I own both, but I do own more SharpLink Gaming. I put my eggs in that basket, And here you go. So everybody was rotating from SBT to BNMR with the news of their big Ethereum purchase, and with Kathy Wood putting in like $183 million. Well, here's Sharplink Gaming kind of raising on that table, and we'll see what the flop looks like over the next coming weeks.
So many ways to win with ETH right now, right? You have these two companies you can invest in. You can invest in the asset itself, right? Just invest in some ETH and stake it or whatever, earn some passive income and hodl that shit for 10 years. Or you can degen it out. You can kind of see where this is all going from the standpoint of altcoins, and you can get positioned into the likes of, I don't know, whatever Surf or Substance or whatever millions of coins are out there that you personally like, because those are also going higher too. Now, the thing about alt season, you got to remember, is that it's not going to last forever, right? It is a brief moment in time. It is a very, in the moment, and you're 3 months into it, and we've lived through a couple of these things. It feels like it is going to last forever. Oh, you're making so much money. Oh my God, every project you invest in is doing a 10x. This is going to last forever. And of course, it all comes crashing down a couple months later. So remember, it lasts much shorter than you think. But get positioned now. Get positioned now in some of your favorite low cap gems, your favorite plays, the ones who are working hard, the teams who you like, the projects who you like, founders who you like. Get positioned now, because it's all in front of us, folks. This whole alt season's in front of us. ETH running, Solana running, your favorite low cap gems running. It's all in front of us. You're just gonna have to get positioned now and remember to take profits when you're sitting on that 10 or 100 times.
Breaking news, Donald Trump says most of the trade deals are finished, and the global M2 money supply just hit an all-time high of $22 trillion. So you have sideline cash, you have bullish news and clarity for the markets with trade deals being done, and that potentially, do we get a rate cut? I don't know. Powell looked very uncomfortable around Trump yesterday, and maybe his arm is finally getting twisted to the point where he's like, you know what? Maybe I just cut the rates a little bit and I keep my job for longer and I keep raking in that tax dollar funded salary. That would be pretty nice. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. The stars are aligning. Stars are aligning.
Yeah, good old Powell joke. Always good for a laugh track or two. But yeah, man, everything's lining up great, and we've been sitting here on this channel and on X and everywhere else, talking about how this bull run is going to be the biggest and most explosive of all time, and it's absolutely coming true. It's absolutely coming true, folks. I know it might not feel like it right now if you're in certain altcoins and your bags haven't run. You've been holding a meme for a year and it's just been down and to the right. Look, I know it hurts. I know it's been tough for some of you, but the fact of the matter is, Bitcoin went from 15,000 to 120K. ETH is finally on a run. Trump is doing this thing, absolutely crushing it with respect to the laws that are getting passed, with respect to these trade deals. Fed is going to have to make a move soon. End of this year is lining up to be absolutely explosive. So hang on to your hats. I'm very glad to hear Trump make that announcement. Although I do think the reality is that, because he was out there, I watched his press conference or whatever that speech was around the AI bill he signed or whatever he's trying to do with AI. And he was basically saying, look, doing 200 trade deals in like 6 months, that's really hard to do. So we're pretty much just going to slap on like a standard. There'll be like the standard tariff, and then there'll be like the negotiated tariff. But a handful of countries will get the negotiated deals, right? No doubt about it. But then there are a lot of them are just going to get the standard, 10, 15% tariff. But the beautiful thing about all this is that now Powell has no more excuses. You got no more excuses, bro. Like, there's finality and clarity around these tariffs. They did not cause inflation, at least not in a meaningful way. Maybe you're on a handful of goods, but it didn't really cause the CPI reading to go crazy. Labor market's still a bit challenging and iffy. Everyone's been weighed down with these high interest rates the past 2 years. Just keep your job, cut the rates, make Trump happy, make America happy, and you'll be. It's all going to be fine. The 25 basis point cut isn't going to reignite a massive amount of inflation out of the blue. So just calm the F down and cut the rates.
Yeah, we got NASDAQ flipping green, S&P 500 flipping green, and Dow flipping green. Now, very slight green, so not out of the neck of the woods, but them going from red to green is good to see on that kind of news from Trump, if that's what you call it nowadays, and we'll see how Bitcoin and Ethereum follow. I see a lot of people on Twitter talking about, sharing images of bulls like sleeping or dead or whatever, talking about bull market currently. It's like, what are we looking at? Like, what are we looking at? You think everything just goes up straight to the right. It's just, that's not how things work, even in other bull markets. So either A, you have bear market PTSD, or B, you haven't been here before, so that's why you're watching the show. In 2017, there was like 3 or 4 cases where Bitcoin went down 30 to 35% during the bull market. In 2021, same thing happened. So you're going to have corrections that try to spook you out. Then everybody's going to say that was the top, and really you should be buying more Bitcoin or getting in altcoins because they're going to start ripping 10%, 20%, 30%, 100% off the low. Even Ian did it a little bit. Well, the 100% gain for PTGC in the past week's okay, but I'm looking for the 10x. And then, in 2 weeks from now, I'll be like, hey, PTGC's up another 100x. Oh, it's up another 100x. And before you know it, we're like, well, shit, I never got a chance to buy the dip on any of these things because, yes, you are afraid of the bear market coming back. You're afraid of the red candles, or you're afraid that they're not going to continue going up and to the right. So at some point, there will be a top, but we are not calling for that to be happening right here, right now. And, when people are like, oh my gosh, alt season over, but the asset's still up 60% after a dip, you should probably be buying because it's about to be up another 60% in the coming weeks.
To be honest, I just don't like buying projects that are 100 million market caps. I like buying
fair.
ones that are 500,000 because I don't think the bull market's over. I just want to get a 10x.
Crypto Amaru is a very interesting investor. He's full degen with half his portfolio. He needs sub 1 million with half, and the other half is like, all right, Bitcoin ETH only. It's like that's his Crypto Amaru.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. It's 10x or it's just the boring shit. But look, everyone has their approach that works for them. I'm sure I missed out on plenty of gainers on the mid caps, so don't necessarily follow everything I do. But everyone has their approach. But look, there's gonna be plenty of ways to win this cycle. You want to hang out and just be chilling with your Ethereum and Bitcoin, you'll do well. You want to invest in those established, tried and true projects that already have great communities, already have good tech, token utility, or if it's a meme, so rabid community, you'll do well. You want to find the gems that people haven't really figured out exist yet, or are kind of just in the trenches, you're going to do well, although you might suffer a couple rugs too. So look, there's going to be plenty of opportunities, plenty of ways to make money. Stay following the channel. That's key, right? So a couple housekeeping items that we should get to before we end today's session. First and foremost, next week we are going to announce a new ongoing giveaway to our most engaged community members. And by engaged, I mean people who are active on X, Telegram, and then most critically, watching these live streams and commenting and asking great questions. We want to hear from you guys. We want to make this a conversation. We want you to ask, hey, look at this coin, or what do you think about this or that, or, is the bull run done? Or I don't know what the hell questions you're going to want to ask. You want to talk about our sunglasses? Let's have that conversation. But the bottom line is we want engaged community members coming up here and making these live streams more fun and engaging. So to that end, we will be announcing an ongoing reward, a weekly reward, going to go out to the most engaged community members. We haven't yet figured out exactly the structure of that. Will there be multiple winners per week, one winner per week, how much money to give away? That's all we figured out over this weekend. It'll be announced next week. So I'm very much looking forward to that. I see you are showing the website, which I'm glad you're showing the website. We are about to give the website a major facelift. So there's going to be a new landing page, a new front page that's going to kind of capture the crypto paradise vibe and vision, I think, a little bit more clearly than the present landing page, front page. And we're also going to be having this burn dashboard, which I'm super pumped about. You'll be able to connect your wallet right to the D app and see all the stats around burns, all the stats around how much money you've earned, the token reflections, the surf reflection rewards, and I think a lot of other data as well will be shown. So we're working, we're grinding away. We just made a new hire, Danny. He's been absolutely great. We've been active on the Medium posts. Shout out to Danny, doing a great job over there. And then I guess, you just reminded me, fourth most here point I want to make is that Nick and I are heading down to Tulum, Mexico, sometime in August to scope out different villas for our first retreat. It's going to happen probably November or December this year. So you're going to get more information, more content around the retreat, how to participate, how to join us for 3 days of fun, sun, and networking in the sand. So yeah, looking forward to that trip. And we'll be doing some content down there as well. So it should be a lot of fun.
Yeah, and I think the biggest thing is get involved with Surf. Frontier Fund doing very well. We mentioned it yesterday. If you have 400,000 Surf or more, you can get in the round 2 of Frontier Fund. We'll be doing some standalone videos and updates on that, but that's going to be happening in the first week of August. So you have the next maybe 5 days, maybe 1 week from now to build your Surf bags, and there's a great opportunity to buy the Surf bags. A little bit of a dip on Pulse Chain, but obviously a big dip here on the Surf token. Still up 8,000% since launch, but let's be real. At some point, this needs to be the rounded bottom. I drew this squiggly here in a live show not long ago, and look what's happening. A low has been found in. It's slowly working its way up. Now, how do we juice this falling wedge to actually make it a reality? That can come in a couple ways. Number one, starting next week, we're going to start a buy and burn from DeFi yield and from revenue from marketing. That will be starting when the dashboard is live, so expect some buys and burns to happen every week. On top of the ones that auto happen based on trading volume, you can see that 2.22% of the total supply has already been burnt with the automatic burns from the trading volume, but we're going to juice that with DeFi yield on a weekly basis. Number two, other projects launching with our advisory services that pass value on to the Surf token. So we're working with an RWA project called YakDAO that has a $1 million property. They're going to have an initial LP with Surf, launching at a very small market cap. So when that pumps, it's going to drag Surf higher. But also, they're going to have an automatic buy and burn of Surf based off their trading volume forever. We're also working with Bear AI, which is a AI product suite. They were going to launch on BSC or Base Network. Instead, we talked them into Pulse Chain. They added Pulse Chain integration to all their AI tooling, and now they're going to launch a token that will have a Surf initial LP. It's starting at a very low market cap. When it pumps, it will help Surf. But also, they are going to have a buyback and burn for the Surf token forever. So what you're going to start to see, I bet you by mid-August, you're going to have Bear AI buying and burning Surf. You're going to have YakDAO buying and burning Surf. You're going to have the trading volume of the Surf token itself buying and burning Surf. And you're going to have us putting revenue and DeFi yield into the buys and burn and Surf. And that can make this falling wedge a reality. Now, if we couple that with some marketing, both free marketing with Pulse Chain influencers and paid marketing with Pulse Chain influencers, what do you think happens to this chart? If you look at the no expectation wallet, there is about $6,000 or $7,000 there that could be used to help incentivize some people to want to do some Surf content or have them on their channel to talk about the Surf token over on Pulse Chain. So that's what's cooking. Obviously, these are a lot of moving parts. There's no guarantee that they all fall into place, but you got to manifest the perfect collage of success happening. And when you pair that up with the potential bullish falling wedge pattern here on Surf token, I think I would be buying and holding, earning more Surf or holding, and waiting for these buys and burns to really kick into hyperdrive over the next couple weeks.
There's the alpha for you folks, and I will say with full confidence that all of those things are happening because the launch of YakDAO is imminent, already been finalized essentially with the smart contract, with some of the marketing that's being prepped. All that stuff is already in the works. Same story with Bear AI. That's definitely happening as well. Their dashboard's being built out along with our own. Their smart contracts done. The marketing you're talking about, that's not difficult for us to execute on. We are a marketing channel after all, so having guests on or us joining other shows, that's very much in the cards. We're obviously still doing the giveaways and doing the contests. We just gave out the rewards to those who entered into the Trebly and Crypto Paradise contest. Thank you guys for making that great content. We're going to be doing the ongoing giveaways for the most engaged community members joining us on these live streams. I know Nate's cooking up a bunch of stuff with the Crypto Paradise mini app. So on and on and on. I mean, we're never stopping. We're not slowing down. We're just out here grinding away every day. This is our full-time thing. 24/7 crypto, 24/7 Crypto Paradise. And that's how we build this thing over the course of many months and years to that $100 million market cap that's our targets and everyone's targets in the DAO, certainly. So, yeah, it's going to be a fun journey, fun ride ahead. Hope you guys are enjoying it thus far. Any final thoughts before we end today's session and call it a week?
I think that's it. Watch these charts, watch the performance, get your positions, and I don't want to be saying I told you so to a bunch of people who watch these and don't buy their bags.
That's how it always is, though, right? It's always "I told you so" with crypto, isn't it? It's always like, dude, I told you about Bitcoin at 1,000. Now you're buying it now at 120. 10 years later, I told you about ETH when it was $90. Now you're buying it now at 3,700. I told you about Surf at 1 million market cap. Here it is at 50 mil. So that's just how it is with most people, and that's fine. Not everyone's a crazy risk taker and wants to ape into everything. But for those who do, for those who do, you take a little bit of risk, potential massive reward. So that's what it's all about. We're having fun out here. Oh, it looks like do we have a chat? Do we have somebody who's asking a question? Oh, look at that. Someone popped in. What's up, buddy? Saying money here, saying yo on the live stream. Yo, man, what's going on?
I think that's Money Game Crypto, the guy we had on here for the live show, doing his thing over on Pulse Chain. Hopefully,
Whoa.
he listened in, loads up his bags, and gets in the surf DAO. It'd be nice to see some of these faces that we talk about who are lurking in the shadows. They're watching, but they're uncertain. Get their surf bags, get in the DAO, and start taking advantage of our calls, take advantage of the surf price performance, the reflection rewards, and so much more. And, they can do some self-branding. The DAO is always looking for main characters to join that chat, and when they do, they get pretty excited. We had the founders of RhinoFi get in there before their Rhino launch. They launched at 40K market cap, went as high as like 1.2 million. Currently sitting at a 600,000 market cap, still in the Surf DAO, still getting that alpha, and still working with the Surf token holders.
Yeah, if you're a founder, there's no better place to be than the Surf DAO because you have access then to 84 whales essentially that are looking for new projects that are about to launch, and they're looking to ape in and get those 10x gains. And so, Money, if you're listening and you got a project that you're cooking and working on in the background, which I think that you do, feel free, hit us up. Let's get you involved in the Surf DAOs. I know you mentioned you wanted to, and then you're basically shilling to 84 whales just right there, right in the channel. So I would love to have you there, bud. But yeah, great stuff today overall. We will be back Monday with another live stream. We got those announcements to drop. We're just working our butts off, having a great time this bull run. So very excited for that. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. And until next time, guys, we'll see you on the beach.